about Go Pro. I hope you make this decision to go pro. Well, now you've made the decision to go pro. You've taken a step. You're not just somebody who's a tourist. You're engaging in the process. And I'm telling you, over the course of this next year, we're going to learn together. We're going to grow together. We're going to solve problems together. We're going to really examine, and you're going to find out the things that are holding you back. And more importantly, you're going to find out how to turn those things around to liberate yourself, to self-diagnose something that might be a limiting factor in your business, and then to prescribe activities or identify and prescribe activities to be able to take you out of it. See, the whole goal of this is for you to become self-sufficient, for you to become independent, for you to become a real network marketing professional. And the theme of this first week is taking responsibility. And that's a hard concept for people to really get their heads around. This idea that you're responsible, you are responsible for your success in network marketing, and you're also responsible for your failure. So many people have been trained to live in a world that if they have somebody to blame, then they're okay. Well, it's this person's fault, or it's my sponsor's fault, or it's the company's fault, or my downline blew up the organization, or somebody left my business, or whatever. They're trained to blame. The government did this to me, and they did that, or whatever is going on. And inside of our profession, I'm telling you, you have the ability right now to take control of your future. What a lot of people get confused with is they get so many mixed messages that they don't know how to move forward with confidence. That's what this program is going to really do, is help you kind of formulate what works, what doesn't work. You're going to hear a lot of success stories from top earners, and we're going to go deep with some of these people on some of these topics that you may have heard conflicting reports on. I'm going to give you my opinion, and my opinion is based on learning from a lot of different people, but the biggest thing that everyone agrees with is you have to take responsibility for your business. You have to say, I'm president and CEO of my business. And from now on, I'm not going to blame anybody at all, ever. If somebody lets me down, then they let me down. But I'm going to learn from that experience, and I'm going to set things up so I don't get let down in the future. If you let somebody do presentations for you and they do a bad job, well, what do you need to do? You either need to find somebody else to help you with presentations, or you need to learn learn how to do presentations for yourself. Now, I'm going to tell you a lot of stories through this process, and one of them is at the early stages of my business. I joined network marketing because my father and his partner sponsored me. And so I got involved because of them, and I really went after it, and I got some early success. And they were professional real estate investors at the time, and they had 80 different homes that they owned, and so they got involved, and they were kind of working for a month or 2 months. And then they had to, put a lot of focus into their real estate. This was at a time where real estate was, kind of a troubled market. And so they were scrambling. Well, so the first thing I do is, I'd walked away from real estate as soon as I got a little bit of success in network marketing. The first thing I did is I blamed them. They abandoned me. They left me behind. How do you expect me to succeed? And, somebody in his early 20s, when their sponsor just disappears. They don't help me at all. They don't do anything for me. I've got to do it all. I've got to work. I've got to make all this stuff happen. Woe is me. So my natural tendency was to blame, just to take the focus off myself, until I realized that nobody cared about my blaming. The blaming didn't pay my bills. I had to go take charge of some things. And so I blamed my upline, which I really did. I blamed the local meetings. Well, if the meetings were better, then we could have some better results. I blamed the company leadership. Well, they don't provide enough training, so all these different things. I blamed, and if there was something to blame, I did it. But at some point, I realized that no one was going to build my business but me. Nobody else was going to build it. I had to build it. And in order for me to build it, I had to develop skills. And there was a time about really a year into my business where I realized, you know what? This is all me. It's all me now. It's not going to be any of these other blame situations. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to run the meeting. I'm going to have to book the room. I'm going to have to call everybody and promote for that event. I'm going to have to learn how to get people started properly. I'm going to have to learn how to circle up after a presentation. I'm going to have to learn how to do the presentation. I'm going to have to learn how to train people. I'm going to have to learn how to promote for big events. I'm going to have to learn how to tell my story and teach other people how to tell their story. These are all things, skill sets we're going to teach you over the course of this next year. But I had to learn it all. So I started to become a student for the first time in my life. Up until that point, I wasn't a student. I was never a student in high school. I was never a student in my the nanosecond that I was involved in college. I was never a student of life, but I became a student of network marketing. And I started saying, okay, what do the successful people do? How do they present? How do they train? How do they circle up after a presentation? How do they invite to get people to take a look? How do they tell their story? How do they get people to big events? How do they get product usage moving in the organization? How do they get third-party tools helping to expand and create exponential results for their organization? How do they transfer belief from themselves to another person? How do they do a three-way call? I had to learn this bucket of skills, and I will tell you, the good news is it's all learnable. It's all within your reach. It's all available. But you have to just say, you know what? This is my responsibility now, and I'm going to do it. And you can shift some of the blame to me even if you want. Well, Eric's not teaching me fast enough. Or whatever you want it to be. But the reality is you got to take charge. You have to really say, I'm in charge. You got to put at the top of your journal, I'm in charge. This is my business. This is my life. And I'm going to get the answers. Right? If you do that, everything changes. There was a huge moment for me. It was probably 3 years in to my business when I realized, you know what? Nothing can stop me. Nothing. If I wanted to become a professional football player, there were lots of things that could stop me. I was small, I was weak, I was slow. Right? Even though I had all this desire. If I wanted to become the CEO of Coca-Cola, there were lots of things that could stop me. My intelligence, my experience, my background, the political aspects of what you'd have to do in order to be able to do that, the fact that other people are fighting for that spot. Right? If I wanted to be a movie star, tons of things that could stop me. But inside of network marketing, I realized nothing could stop me from going all the way to the top. And nothing can stop you. If you make the decision and you take charge, nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you. Politics can't stop you. Other people can't stop you. The things that are in the way. Talent can't stop you because you can develop the skills in this business. You don't have to have any God-given talent to go to the top in this business. Most people make $1 million a year. They're average folks. They just learn to master a few fundamentals. You'll learn that as you get to know them. But nothing can stop you. People say, well, what if my company blows up and, I made the wrong choice? Doesn't matter. If you're a professional, you'll find another home and you'll build